of ruin.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Disgustingly Resilient podcast. And in today's episode we got another Infection Critical coming for you, looking at the first performing lists of the new data slate that has dropped. These events are all using the new data slate, so that means all the changes are in, all of our points drops, our demon changes, our points increases on predators, and of course all the things for the other armies, including all the new detachments that came out as well. So we're going to be looking at those, and yeah, if you do enjoy the content on this channel, please leave a like and a subscribe. We try and do tactics videos, we do these kind of videos, and we also do a lot of live streams every Tuesday night and every Sunday night, so you can try and catch us on those. That would be awesome. So consider leaving a like and a subscribe, and if you really enjoy the content on the channel, consider becoming a member. Hit that join button. For £3 a month you get to become a Plague Marine, you get access to our Discord, you get access to our Plague Surgery reviews where we look at your lists, and you get access to our giveaways. So but let's get into it anyway. So what is this series? So it's normally a bi-weekly video. We kind of pushed this one back a little bit because with the new data slate coming, we don't want to cover an episode that's going to be basically invalidated in a week. So we'd rather look at the lists that are with a new data slate rather than looking at old lists. So that's why it's a bit late, this one. So we'll look at the best Death Guard performing lists of the week. We don't necessarily pick the 3 top lists. So obviously, if we win an event, we probably will. But we try and obviously pick ones that have a bit of variety in them as well. Nobody wants to sit here and see me read the same list 3 times. Though, thankfully, as an army, our index is quite good in terms of like internal balance. So there's quite a lot of variety in the list that we see. Then we're going to look at the list and the units they take, and potentially also look at some of their matchups. And first up this week, we've got Mr. Chuck Bailey, Mr. Chuckanari from our Discord, our very own Plague Marine member, who managed to go 4 wins and 1 loss at the South Coast UKTC event, which is a super major on the UKTC format, 267 player event, and he managed to snag 31st place. So excellent work there, Mr. Chuck. Chuck's list is running Play Company, so kind of standard. Lord of Contagion with Deadly Pathogen, so this is the +1 strength, +1 attack, and then the same again if you're on an infected objective marker. Really nice kind of slam character there, just brings a lot of damage to the list. Mortarion, big man himself, gotta love that ignore modifiers aura, and access to real ones to wound. Also, just kind of fairly tough, kind of annoying to kill. Then we've got Typhus and Tallyman. Typhus is obviously just really good as well. Again, 80 points, D6 mortal wounds whenever you kind of need it, and a flat damage 3 melee weapon as well. Nice, 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 and -1 to hit in close combat. Tallyman, probably going to be sitting solo in this list by the looks of it, probably on the home objective. Just going to try and farm CP and scream out that home objective. So always nice if you like having a lot of stratagems in your game to be able to bring a Tallyman and not have to constantly be thinking about ditching a secondary. If you want CP, he can just naturally generate you one as well. 1 squad of cultists. Cultists should be in every list. Cultists are just great. They're great for doing early skirmishing, early trade starting, and also for getting those early secondaries. Nobody wants to get, you know, turn 1 area denial and have to throw out something like a tank or a Death Shroud unit. You don't want to do that. You want your cultists to go out. Who cares? 50 points if they die. If they get you 5 victory points, easy peasy. Then we've got 2 squads of 3 Death Shroud Terminators, probably going to be accompanied by the Lord of Contagion and Typhus, respectively. So yeah, really good. I actually start to like the 3-man squads a lot more than the 6-man squads. 3-man squads are a lot smaller, a lot easier to fit in with rapid ingress. And to be honest, when you bring a Lord of Contagion, still does plenty of damage, and Typhus also has that flat damage 3 in there. So it's still, they pack quite a punch for only a 4-man squad size. And obviously the -1 to wound can make them fairly resilient, which is quite nice as well. Then we've got a squad of 20 and a squad of 10 Poxwalkers, so a bit of tech here. You've got 10 Poxwalkers to just sort of screen, obviously, you know, can hold you home if you need to, if you're worried about the Tallyman dying. You've also got 20 Poxwalkers, which is a very annoying unit. You can put it out there and it can force an opponent to over or under commit to trying to kill it. You can obviously, in matchups where you'll be able to get use out of the rule to regenerate Poxwalkers, add Typhus to the squad, and then any kill Typhus gets with either his mortal wounds or his melee will regenerate Poxwalker. So if you go against like a guard horde list, Typhus can become near unkillable because he just constantly regenerates like 10 guys a turn, because he just goes in with his 12 sweep attacks, kills more with D6 mortal wounds than any of the Poxwalkers kill, so you can easily actually get 10, you can probably get more potentially. So that's really, really nice. And in the situations where that's not relevant, you're not going to get that ability, you can put him back with a Death Shroud, and then you have 2 really strong Death Shroud squads, and still a very annoying 100-point unit that's going to take far more firepower than it wants to be killed. Especially if you put something like Cloud of Flies on it, make it even more annoying to kill. Then we're rocking 2 Predator Destructors with the Heavy Bolters. I am really coming around these heavy bolters. These plague heavy bolters are so goddamn good. Lethal hits and sustained on them make them absolute monsters. They're really good in the Eldar matchup as well, because a lot of people will not put no Overwatch on a unit that a Predator can see, because they're normally looking for your Flamers, and they'll put no Overwatch on that and then get some out. And I've had my Predator Overwatch against a squad of Dark Reapers. I get 2 6s on the Overwatch on the plague heavy bolters. Suddenly that's 4 hits. 2 of them auto wound. Wounding on 2s with the others because of contagion range, potentially AP3 because infantry plus -1 save contagion, and suddenly I've killed like 4 out of the 5 Dark Reapers on Overwatch, and that's before I've even shot the autocannon, before I've shot the Havoc launcher, before I've shot the Plague combi bolters. It's quite nasty. It's honestly quite nasty. So those things surprise people, and if you just get line of sight onto an infantry squad, they just rip it apart, especially if they don't have an invuln like Marines. They are Marine maulers, so really sold on heavy bolters, and they can still punch up thanks to those lethal hits, which is really nice. Then we got 3 fetid bloat drones, 1 of each variety. So we got a flesh mower, blight launcher, and a spitter. Bloat drones are great. We've talked about them all the time about how good they are for starting skirmishing, starting trades. They require far more to kill than their 90 points would seem so. And having 3 of those followed up by the 1 Pathetic Blight Haul that we can see, which got a 5 points drop. Just again, it allows you to have these 4 really cheap demon engines that will easily go and bully other skirmishing units quite easily, and even hurt like quite elite units if they manage to get good shots into it. They can fall back, shoot, charge, so they're constantly just doing stuff, being annoying, spreading contagion. Fantastic unit. I have at least 2 in every list at the moment, 3 if possible. They're just so good. But then we're going Chunk Town. This is a chunky list, so we're going to bring in 1 squad of Nurglings, which is going to allow us to then bring Rotagus. So it's going to have 2 massive T12 monsters, both rocking 4-up invulnerables with Mortarion and the Rotagus. Rotagus now having the 6-up Feel No Pain baked in is quite cool. And he obviously got his aura a little bit nerfed, where basically now you no longer half movement and OC, but you reduce, I think, movement by 2 and you reduce OC by 1. However, the OC reduction is now no longer capped at 1, so if your opponent has a unit of elites that are only OC 1, they will now actually be OC 0 if they are near Rotagus, which is funny because it also means they can't score secondaries, they can't do actions. It also means they can't take a point off you. Like, it doesn't matter if they put 50 flawless blades on top of your Rotagus, they're all OC 0. Like, 1 single cultist surviving, you will hold the objective, which is pretty cool. Now, don't ask why Rotagus is not dead to 50 flawless blades. We don't go there. But still, so really cool to see Rotagus still being good, still got... He's now improved strength on his bonk attack as well. I think it's now strength 10, which is really nice to see. And he's still got the sweep at damage, and he can, obviously because of his ability, they're going to be damage 2 sweeps and damage 4 bonks respectively. So really, really cool unit, still great. And the 6-up Feel No Pain made him even chunkier, which is really nice. Then, bringing up the rear, we've got a War Dog Carnival. These things are great. Shove them in Strategic Reserve, keep them on the board. High OC, high movement, extremely scary melee profile. Just 140 points, super cheap. It's not the end of the world if you lose it. But if this thing connects into a vehicle or something that doesn't have an invulnerable, it's going to take a pound of flesh. And I really like playing these things from Strategic Reserves. But they also do good as like a line, like a backline protector. They sort of deploy in your deployment zone. If an opponent tries to rush you, they can react to it, which is also really, really nice. So a really cool list there. Lots of use of allies, bringing in the new Rotagus, bringing in a War Dog Carnivore, making sure we got the most of that toughness 12 chunk, and then backing that up with nice skirmish units like the Death Shroud Terminators and a nice core of 4 demon engines, which is awesome. And he's not neglecting his long range firepower because he's still bringing along his 2 Predator Destructors. Even with the 10 points increase, they're still totally worth it. So he went against Marines, Anvilus Siege Force, smashed them into the dirt. Marines, Ironstorm, smashed that into the dirt, which is interesting because this list doesn't particularly like it would duel well with other tank lines, but as you can clearly see, clearly does. Grey Knight's Warpbane Task Force would have an actual nightmare trying to kill the big chunk on this list. They're not the greatest at killing chunk, and as soon as it connects and gets out there, they're going to have a real good time of killing the Grey Knights. Now, we did get a loss to Toby Bennett's Dark Angel Stormlance. So again, Toby's a fantastic Dark Angels player, so nothing surprising there. It's quite a fast, does hit quite hard, that list, but it was quite close, I believe, on the score. So still a great showing. And then in the finals, went and absolutely mauled some Custodes Shield hosts. So a nice variety of matchups there. Really good into the power armored factions and the Grey Knights. All these factions with good saves. Death Guard just naturally smashed that, which is really, really nice. Gives you that nice advantage. -1 save in those scenarios is huge. And then still being able to kill Custodes quite easily. Custodes really won't like Rotagus, giving them reducing their OC, reducing the movement speed as well. Lots of anti-infantry still here with the Flamers, with the fetid bloat drones, and just a lot of output. So it's a really cool list, really nice to see, and well done to Chuck for getting that 4-on-1 finish. Well done, mate, well done. Next up, we got Matthew Murrell. Murrell or Murrell, I'm not sure, but he went 5 wins and 1 loss at the Rocky Mountain Open, another super major over in I think it's either America or Canada. I'm not too sure. Sorry, I don't know events over there. I apologize. I hope I've not offended anyone. 222 player super major, and he managed to get the 9th place finish, which is excellent work. Well done, sir. So he's rocking Play Company again. We've got a Mortarian, big man's here again, a Biologist Putrefy and a Foul Blightspawn, a lot of Contagion, once again rocking Deadly Pathogen, a single Malignant Playcaster, and Typhus. Now alongside this, we don't see the traditional 10-man Plague Marine brick. Instead, we see 3 5-man Plague Marine bricks, which is quite an interesting take. Most people wouldn't do this, and I would love to know what the reasoning was for it, but I mean, obviously, right now, the 10-man brick is very expensive and hard to trade effectively with, whereas this does give you, you know, the ability to still have a 5-man squad that has fights first to protect an objective. Maybe you separate the characters out, have the Bios Putrefy run with a separate 5-man, that's like your offensive squad. And then you've got 1 spare squad that can just be used to either actions, jump onto an opponent's primary to deny it with 10 OC, all that kind of stuff. Now, his loadouts were 2 heavy play weapons in every squad, then the Sergeant had the heavy play weapon and a plasma gun in every squad, and then in 1 squad he took an extra plasma, and then in another squad he took an extra melter, and they also had a Bubotic weapon squad as well. So that was also backed up by 2x3 Death Shroud Terminators, so seeing this come back again, going to be joined obviously by Lord of Contagion and Typhus. So once again we talked about how these 3-mans are performing really well at the moment. The game at the moment is so killy that these big strong units kind of just die. So if you're going to die, you might as well die with less things in the squad. And MSU for us can still, like, a lot of Contagion plus 3 Dash Shard still hits super hard and will kill most things it touches. So why do you need the 6-man at that point? If it's going to die anyway, probably like the turn after, then you might as well only lose, 190 points compared to the full, 290 points. So, 300 points, because 220 plus 80. Then we got 1 squad of Poxwalkers. Something's got to sit on home. Might as well be them. 2 Chaos Rhinos to ferry around all of the goodness of the Plague Marines. A walking Plague Marine is indeed a dead Plague Marine. Rhinos are super, super important. Then we've got a Death Guard Hellbrute. Now, this is an interesting one because the Hellbrute normally is there to put out Contagion at long range and then you shoot the thing to death with all your guns. This list doesn't have many long range guns. There's no Predators. There's no there's no Plague Burst Crawls. We do have 3 Mythic Blight Holes, so I do wonder if that was to help them, giving them -1 save and then ignoring cover with the rockets. So now the rockets are AP3 and ignores cover, and the Melter's obviously going to be AP5 and ignore cover. That actually then really does start to hurt. The Bloat Drone, there's 1 of each as well with the Heavy Blight Launcher. That would make quite nice use of it, having it at AP3 and ignores cover. Potentially is still quite nice to have. But again, it's not the most shooting, so I was a bit surprised to see that, but obviously it worked, so excellent work. It has the Heavy Bolter and the Fist. The Heavy Bolter is the one that's mathematically the most likely to just get you a hit. It's 3 shots, odds say you hit 2, so even on bad dice, you should hopefully at least hit 1 of them, which means you get Contagion. The Fist is just nice to have as a backup weapon. You can put a missile launcher on there, but I would much rather have the Fist because it means that the Hellbrute can pull a secondary role of protecting your backline. If someone wants to come too close, he's more than capable to move, charge, do the impact mortal wounds, potentially tank shot for more mortal wounds, and he's got that flat 3 damage Fist to punch something. Also, there's a Combi Bolter in there which gives you even more shots, which means more potential to get a hit to trigger his rule to spread Contagion as well. So again, Fletted Bloat Drones, great unit, fantastic unit. But then 3 Mythic Blight Holes, 3 squads of 1 Mythic Blight Holes. Really cool to see these guys being in both lists now. So maybe the 85 points is that just getting to that point now where, I mean, it was already really good. They were already, like, don't worry, they're not the most killy. They're probably not going to pop the most tanks or anything like that. But they're so cheap, and they got even cheaper. Like, the 85 points for a Demon Engine profile with those defenses is just kind of wild. So it's still really, really good. If you just want to take them and just have them as Demon Engines, they can do actions. You don't really care if it actions. You don't want, like, people don't want, like, big tanks doing actions, but these things are 85 points. 85 points. You lose a multi-melter and a rocket shot. Like, cool. It can action. Also, Blight Holes are actually small enough on UKTC to hide inside ruins without the top propeller that the drones have sticking out so we can get shot. So actually quite nice for playing around the low ruins in the center of the board. This wasn't UKTC, but just a fun little thing that we can do there. But yeah, it's just go wide. 6 demon engines all running around. You've got the 3 5-man Plague Marine squads, 2 squads of Destroy. It's very much a go wide strategy. There's lots of individual units. It's going to be really hard to kill all those units just because of them not all being together. And every time you kill a unit, the most you're picking up is like 90 points here and there. Like the Death Shroud are the most expensive, obviously Pal Mortarion. And they're only 190 points. Like, you don't kill a unit and go, cool, that's 350 point unit dead. Like, you kill a demon engine, cool, 90 points, 85 points, meh. And as long as you can out-trade that back, you're going to have a good time. Now, Matthew faced Tyranid's Invasion Fleet, he faced an Orcs Green Tide, Ultramarines Stormlands Task Force, Chaos Space Marines Bio, which he won by 1 point, very close game, but excellent work. Astra Militarum combined, and he smashed all of these. And unfortunately, in his final round, he got paired into Orcs Daka, and the same fate happened for a Custodes player, who's also 5 wins at this point, and both of them faced this new Orc Menace. Unfortunately, it proved to live up to its reputation, and both the Matthew on his Death Guard and the Custodes player only managed to get 28 points out of the game. Such is the absolute nonsense that is Daka Daka. I don't care what anyone else says, that thing needs fucking nerfing. And unfortunately, that thing means that potentially Matthew and that Custodes player finished with a lower place than they probably deserved, because that win probably should have been higher points if it was against anything else in the game, and might likely would have got maybe like 7 for like 6th place. So I feel a little sorry for him there, but do not despair, Matthew. You still performed absolutely excellent. Just a shame that last pairing, but such is the pairing gods, and you should be super proud of yourself. So well done, mate. Well done. Then, moving on to the last one we're going to look at, it's Flyblown host. So we're going to, just like I said, try and keep stuff a bit fresh for you guys, so it's not just the same list over and over. Sebastian Mann is the man, coming with the 4 wins and the 1 loss at Nurglemania. Had to be, come on, I couldn't not pick Nurglemania. 40 player at GT or Major. I'm not sure if that's, I think that's G. No, I think that's Major actually. Status, I think 4. It might be 60 plus for Major, but still, really good. 5th place finish, so well done, Sebastian. Flyblown host. Mortarion leading the charge. Mortarion is a yes or a no in Flyblown. Some people like him, some people don't. I still personally think that Mortarion is good in Flyblown host. Just being able to ignore modifiers is really important so you don't get slowed down. Also means Armor Contempt doesn't entirely shut down your damage output, because you don't have no -1 save contagion, you have no +1 AP +1 AP stratagem, so you're only like AP2 on your Death Shroud tops, so being able to ignore any of those potential modifiers is really nice. Plus he absorbs a lot of firepower for the army, and this army wants as much firepower to be absorbed by him while it makes an advance and starts tagging stuff up. Then we've got 2 Terminator Sorcerers. -1 damage is great. It's even better in Flyblown host when you're just trying to tag stuff up and keep it there forever. Lord of Contagion with the Insectile Murmuration, which is the reroll once to wound against targets in contagion range. So the squad he joins is going to be rerolling all hits and rerolling once to wound, which in most instances against infantry means reroll everything, because you're going to hit on 2s, rerolling, wound on 2s, rerolling in most scenarios. So it's really nice little enhancement, that one. We've got a solo Tallyman who's just probably going to sit on home, try and get some CP. It's quite a CP hungry detachment, so I totally understand the Tallyman. And then Typhus, who is more than likely going to be joining a big squad of 20 Poxwalkers. We've got 2 squads of those Poxwalker buggers, 1 squad of 10. So again, Poxwalkers in Flyblown host are just really good. The stealth and the scout lets them get upfield a lot easier. The stealth itself, we talked about before how it can make them way harder to kill than a 100-point unit it should be. Now you get stealth permanently without having to spend -1, spend a command point on it. You can then give them -1 to be wounded by strength or higher. If you're by strength, that's higher than your toughness from the Pathetic Blight Haulers. Or you can go to ground to get a 6 up invulnerable. So then you have a -1 to hit, 6 up invulnerable, 5 up feel no pain. And that, for 20 bodies, is actually harder to chew through than you may think. So really, really good. They clog up the board, they start tagging stuff, they stand all over objectives, and that's exactly what this wants to do, this attachment. Then we've got 1 Fetid Blout Drone with the Heavy Blight Launcher, likely just to play wide angles and sort of be able to score secondaries like Containment and extend engage all fronts while your main force is pushing in. That's probably why it's got the Heavy Blight Launcher. I don't think it's here to do too much killing and shooting, but it's just so it can play the flanks, and on a turn where you don't draw a secondary, like, you know, Containment, stuff like that, you can still contribute to the fight a little bit. 2 Pathetic Blight Haulers, getting cheaper for this attachment was really nice, gets you an extra 10 points to these. And they give access to the -1 to be wounded stratagem, which is nice. Again, we talked about how good it was on the Poxwalkers there, but it can also be used on stuff like Death Shroud as well to double stack -1 to be wounded, which negates things like Oaths +1 to wound, which is really nice because they have +1 to wound, but you have 2 instances of -1 to wound because the Death Shroud's natural rule stacked with the Pathetic Blight Hauler rule, stratagem, sorry, makes them -2 to wounded, which then negates and then still benefit from. So that's really cool. They're just nice to have. And again, we talked about before, cheap demon engine, really can't go wrong with it. Then, rocking quite a big demon contingent here. Not massive, but decent size. It's 9 Nurglings in a 1 squad of 3 and a 1 squad of 6. 1 squad of 6 is great. The infiltrate's just going to make sure your scout doesn't get denied. The second squad, more than likely, was just to unlock the second of a demon unit here. But again, it's still really nice. Infiltrate in Flyblown host just means that you can take board space early, which means that you can get your scouts guaranteed to happen. You don't have to worry about your opponent denying it with their own scouts or their own infiltrators. So, and they're just annoying. They're still annoying. They're dirt cheap. 60 points for some Nurglings, just being an absolute pain in the ass. So, yeah, you're not going to go wrong with some Nurglings in a big squad. They're always semi-useful. But the real magic of it is it unlocks the Plague Bearers, which give this detachment sticky, which is very important. This detachment wants to take an objective and then keep pushing forward, keep your opponent trapped, keep your opponent from scoring, keep your opponent from scoring primary and pushing out. So having Plague Bearers that can sticky the objectives, sorry dog shaking, to allow you to keep pushing forward is going to be really nice. And then the new Beast of Nurgle with its 6-inch scout. This guy can be played either in Deep Strike, he can be played on the board now because the scout synergizes so well with the Flyblown host natural scout. He's going to just scout with the army, or like I said, you can put him in reserves, you can deep strike in to do actions, things like that, because it's all about the scoreboard, Flyblown host. You're not trying to kill your opponent, you're not trying to table him, you're trying to make your score high and keep their score low. And again, he's just another piece of the puzzle, another bit of an early unit. You can put him on the board, he can scout, move, sit on your natural objective while the rest of your forces push forward into the opponent. So Sebastian faced Tyranids invasion fleet, unfortunately lost that one in the first round, but then came back to recover it with the Custodes Lions detachment, which was quite hard because this detachment does not hit that hard at all, but the -1 damage from the Terminator Sorcerers is going to make sure that those Custodes also don't hit very hard in the melee, and you can just drag them down over time. Managed to beat Orc Daka, so hell yeah. I hope this was like, you got first turn, you scouted, and you just fucking sent it into him and just like tagged everything. That would be so funny, but excellent work on that one, good sir. Beating the absolute menace that is. Death Guard Play Company and Death Guard Play Company. So beating the double mirror, which is quite interesting because in my head, Play Company should crap all over Flyblown host. But maybe it was just player skill. Maybe Sebastian just saved the day by playing better. But maybe there's some secret tech there. I'll be honest, I've not really played anyone else that's played Flyblown host. I played it once at an event and I've never seen anyone else running it. So I don't know, maybe I have to try that out at some point and see how it actually plays out. But I just want to say, Sebastian, excellent work. It's really cool to see Flyblown host when it does well. Again, I was very harsh on the attachment when it came out. I still don't think it's great, but it's definitely capable of pulling off results. And the interesting thing is, if you play this attachment, it really helps you get better at focusing on scoring and denying your opponent's score, because that's how it wins. It's all about scoreboard. So if you are finding yourself playing the game and you can kill your opponent, you know where to deep strike stuff, but you find yourself constantly struggling to score secondary and to keep your opponents down, maybe give Flyblown a go for a bit, because it will really teach you, because you can't kill everything anymore. Suddenly you have to play the objectives. So it's quite cool to try out. But excellent work to all 3 of the people that were on this episode of Infection Critical, and thank you so much for everyone that has stuck with it and listened through all of this. I appreciate you massively. Another thank you to go out to our friends over at Vanguard Tactics. If you want any coaching or you want to watch some battle reports, go and check those guys out. Thank you to our friends at Element Games. If you're going to buy any product in the UK, you can use our affiliate link in the description below. You get crystals, we get crystals, everybody's happy. And our friends over at Saltire Games with their now new own website. You can buy all sorts of terrain, all sorts of objective markers, things like that, helpful gaming aids, and of course the biggest thank you to our YouTube members. You guys keep the lights on, keep us making these videos, and we are soon going to be rewarded with a new juicy codex, and all of the videos shall all be yours to break down. But yes, for now, also, thank you to you, the listener, for sticking with me. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you got some inspiration for some lists, and I hope you had a fun time going through these lists with me. And if you did, please leave a like and a subscribe. It really does help the channel. And again, if you want to become one of those YouTube members, join button's right there. Consider it if you want. But for now, everybody, thank you so much. I will catch you all on the next stream / video / whenever I see you next. I will catch you all soon. Stay right on. Take care for now. Bye-bye.